The Mad Titan's Gambit. The night sky above Metropolis glittered with stars, serene and peaceful, until the stars themselves began to shift. A ripple of violet light tore across the heavens like a wound, and through it stepped a figure that carried the weight of 100 conquered worlds. His armor glistened with gold, his eyes burned with cruel intelligence, and his massive gauntlets flexed as though testing the air of a new battlefield. Thanos, the Mad Titan, had come to Earth. But this was not the Thanos of Infinity Stones. This was a warlord stripped of that cosmic crutch, yet no less dangerous. He carried something far more insidious, an artifact ripped from the ruins of a dying star, pulsing with fragments of primal cosmic energy. With it, he would remake Earth as his throne world, a staging ground for the next era of conquest. On the streets of Metropolis, the world carried on unaware. But high above the skyline, Superman heard the breach before it opened. His ears caught the unnatural hum, his eyes spotted the violet distortion long before it ripped fully open. Within seconds, he was airborne, cape snapping like a scarlet flame against the wind. When he reached the breach, Thanos was already standing in the sky, his massive form dwarfing the buildings below. Their eyes met, one filled with calm determination, the other with unshakable arrogance. "Earth," Thanos rumbled, his voice carrying like thunder across the city, "is wasted on mortals who do not understand power. Today, it becomes mine." Superman hovered, steady and unyielding. "Not while I'm here." The Titan smirked. "I expected nothing less from Krypton's last son." Before words could stretch further, Thanos struck first. With a motion quicker than his size suggested, he hurled a blast of violet energy downward. The streets of Metropolis erupted as shockwaves tore through concrete and glass. Cars flipped, windows shattered, and civilians screamed as chaos ignited. Superman dived, intercepting the blast with his body. Heat vision flared, colliding with cosmic energy, the two forces meeting in a violent explosion of light that blinded the night sky. Superman was hurled backward, smashing into the side of a skyscraper. Steel bent and glass rained down, but he was already moving, already flying back into the fight. Thanos awaited him calmly, fists clenched. When Superman struck, the Titan met him blow for blow. The first punch cracked like a cannon shot, rippling across the skyline. Buildings shuddered as if in an earthquake. The second strike sent shockwaves rolling through the city, cracking the asphalt below. Superman moved faster than sound, weaving through the air with a blur of fists, but Thanos absorbed each hit with grim satisfaction. His own counterpunch landed against Superman's jaw with enough force to send him plummeting into the pavement below. The street exploded, asphalt and debris scattering like paper. Superman rose from the crater, blood at the corner of his lip, and launched himself back into the sky. Thanos laughed, not a manic cackle, but the laugh of a predator who had found prey worth the hunt. "Good. Show me why this world worships you." The battle turned into a storm above the city. Superman caught Thanos by the torso and rocketed him upward, higher and higher until the two broke through the atmosphere. The blue curve of Earth glowed beneath them as Superman hammered blows into Thanos's armor, each punch a burst of solar fury. But Thanos endured. With a brutal headbutt, he stunned Superman, then seized him by the cape. Spinning, the Titan hurled him back down toward the planet. Superman streaked through the atmosphere like a meteor, crashing into the outskirts of the city with a deafening impact. The shockwave flattened an entire block. Dust and fire rose into the night. Superman staggered back to his feet, pain lancing through his body, but his spirit unbroken. He could hear the cries of civilians, the chaos of sirens, the panic of lives at stake. And that was enough to steady him. In a blur, he was airborne again. His eyes glowed red, brighter than ever, as beams of heat vision shot through the night, searing into Thanos's chest. The Titan stumbled backward, armor sizzling, before growling with renewed fury. "You are strong," Thanos admitted, brushing away the smoke. But strength without purpose is nothing. He raised his artifact, and the violet crystal pulsed with terrifying energy. The ground beneath Metropolis cracked as the air warped, reality itself bending at Thanos's will. Superman floated, fists clenched, his cape torn, determination burning in his eyes. He knew this was no ordinary fight. Thanos wasn't here to conquer. He was here to reshape. If the Titan succeeded, Earth would be remade in his image. And Superman was the only one standing in his way. The clash had just begun. Worlds collide. The fires of Metropolis still smoldered when the world realized the battle had only begun. Superman had managed to force Thanos out of the city, hurling him across the Atlantic like a comet, but the Titan's laughter echoed even in defeat. Now, storm clouds gathered over London. The skies tore open as a fleet of alien warships descended, their black silhouettes blotting out the sun. The Thames churned violently as energy blasts struck bridges, shattering steel and stone. The streets below filled with terrified civilians scrambling for shelter. And there, at the heart of the chaos, floated Thanos. His golden armor bore cracks from Superman's blows, yet his presence radiated the confidence of a conqueror. In one hand, he gripped a jagged shard of cosmic crystal, its violet glow pulsing like a heartbeat. Superman streaked across the clouds, his cape billowing like a scarlet flame. He stopped above the Tower of London, his jaw clenched as he surveyed the destruction. "Thanos," he called, voice ringing like thunder. "This ends now." The mad Titan smirked. "On the contrary, Kryptonian, this is where it begins. Earth will be my crucible. From its ashes, I will forge a new empire." Superman's eyes ignited, two beams of red light slicing through the storm. Thanos raised his crystal shard, deflecting the heat vision as if it were nothing more than sunlight on steel. The redirected energy tore a hole in Westminster Abbey's ancient walls, the crash reverberating across the city. With a guttural roar, Superman lunged. The two titans collided mid-air, the shockwave rattling windows for miles. Their fists met like meteors colliding, Superman's raw solar power against Thanos's relentless might. The battle spilled across the city. Superman tackled Thanos through Big Ben, the clock tower exploding into rubble. Thanos retaliated by hurling Superman into the Thames, waves rising like walls as the river itself seemed to recoil from the impact. As Superman emerged from the water, coughing but unbroken, Thanos raised the crystal high. Purple energy spiraled outward, striking the alien warships above. The ships responded instantly, unleashing volleys of plasma down upon the city. Superman's heart clenched at the sight of civilians trapped on the Westminster Bridge as it crumbled under the onslaught. He had a choice: stop Thanos or save the people. Without hesitation, Superman sped toward the bridge, his arms outstretched. The crumbling structure collapsed into the river, but he caught it, muscles straining as tons of steel and concrete rested on his shoulders. People screamed, scrambling to safety as Superman held the bridge aloft. Thanos laughed from above. "Even gods can be distracted. That is why you will lose." Superman's teeth gritted as he shouted back, "Not while there's someone left to protect." With a final surge of strength, he set the bridge's remains safely against the riverbank and shot skyward like a crimson missile. The two clashed again over Buckingham Palace, shattering glass and stone as the shock waves leveled entire blocks. Superman hammered Thanos with a flurry of blows, his fists moving faster than sound. But Thanos absorbed the punishment, countering with a devastating strike from the crystal shard that sent Superman careening across the skyline. He landed hard in Trafalgar Square, the pavement cracking beneath him. Dazed, he looked up as Thanos descended slowly, his massive shadow blotting out the moonlight. "You fight well, Kryptonian," Thanos said, his deep voice almost admiring. "But strength without vision is wasted. I do not seek to destroy for pleasure. I seek to rebuild a universe free of weakness, ruled by willpower alone." Superman forced himself to stand, blood at the corner of his mouth. You call it vision. I call it tyranny. The two charged once more. Superman's heat vision cut through the night, clashing against the purple aura of Thanos's crystal. The resulting explosion rocked London like an earthquake, windows shattering for miles around. Alien warships swooped lower, pouring fire into the city as if feeding the chaos. But Superman wasn't fighting alone anymore. Across the skies, fighter jets from the Royal Air Force and drones from S.H.I.E.L.D. joined the fray, engaging the alien fleet. Humanity, battered and outgunned, still refused to surrender. Superman drew strength from the sight. With a roar, he broke through Thanos's defenses, landing a crushing punch that sent the Titan crashing into St. Paul's Cathedral, the ancient dome collapsing in a rain of stone and dust. For a moment, silence. Smoke rose. The city seemed to hold its breath. Then, from the rubble, Thanos emerged, bloodied but smiling. He raised the crystal shard once more, and its glow intensified, brighter than ever before. You cannot comprehend what this power truly is, Superman. This shard is but a fragment of eternity itself, and I will wield it until all kneel. Superman hovered above him, chest heaving, every muscle burning from the relentless struggle. His cape fluttered against the storm winds, his eyes blazing with determination. "You may have power, Thanos," Superman declared, his voice carrying across the battered city. "But as long as people believe in hope," he clenched his fists, energy coursing through his body, "you will never win." The Titan's smile faded. For the first time, doubt flickered in his eyes. The storm above London grew fiercer, lightning striking as the two Titans prepared for one final clash. Civilians, soldiers, and even the alien invaders seemed to pause, sensing that the next strike would decide the fate of millions. Superman surged forward like a blazing comet. Thanos braced himself, crystal glowing brighter than a dying star. And as they collided once again, Earth itself seemed to shudder under the weight of their war. To be continued. The last hope. The skies above London burned with violet fire. The crystal shard in Thanos's hand pulsed like a living star, its power flooding the streets with waves of energy that bent steel and shattered stone. Each pulse seemed to make the air itself tremble, and the earth groaned as if it knew something ancient had awakened. Superman hovered above the storm, battered and bruised, his cape torn and blood streaking his face. His body ached from every blow, but his resolve burned brighter than ever. Below, civilians cowered in the wreckage of Trafalgar Square, their eyes turned skyward as if their collective hope rested on the Kryptonians' shoulders. Thanos raised the shard high. The purple glow expanded outward into a dome of cosmic energy, swallowing everything in its path. Fighter jets fell from the sky like dying birds, their systems fried. Alien warships, even his own allies, were consumed by the raw energy, collapsing into the storm. "This world will be remade," Thanos bellowed, his voice echoing through the city like thunder. Its weakness purged, its future secured. Superman's fists clenched. His heat vision flared, but he didn't fire yet. He needed one chance, one decisive strike that would end this. "Your future," Superman shouted back, voice cutting through the storm, "isn't yours to decide." He shot forward, a blazing streak of red and blue cutting through the violet haze. The two collided mid-air above Buckingham Palace, the shockwave flattening everything for blocks. Superman's fists hammered into Thanos's armor, denting the golden plates, while the Titan countered with swings of the shard that split the sky with each strike. Every blow felt like mountains colliding. Superman felt his ribs crack under the weight of Thanos's power, yet he pushed harder. He thought of Lois, of his parents, of every innocent life below depending on him. His pain became fuel. His weakness became willpower. Thanos sneered, pushing Superman back with a massive surge of energy. The Kryptonian spiraled through the sky, crashing into the London Eye, shattering the giant wheel into a rain of steel. Superman pulled himself from the wreckage, groaning, and rose once more. The Titan floated above the city, glowing like a god of destruction. "You are but one man," he roared. "I am Destiny incarnate." Superman's eyes narrowed, his voice steady despite the storm raging around them. "Then Destiny is about to fall." He closed his eyes for a moment, tilting his head back toward the heavens. Beyond the storm, beyond the smoke, he could feel it, the sun, his eternal source of strength. He reached for it, drawing its warmth deep into his core. His body began to glow, brighter and brighter, until he was a beacon of golden fire against the darkness. Thanos's expression shifted. For the first time, he looked uncertain. Superman launched himself upward, piercing the clouds, his body igniting like a miniature sun. He broke through the atmosphere, soaking in the raw solar energy, every cell of his body screaming with newfound power. His skin glowed, his veins crackled with light, and his cape burned at the edges from the sheer heat. Then, with a roar that shook the heavens, Superman plummeted back to Earth, a blazing comet of hope. Thanos raised the shard, its energy spiraling into a massive beam aimed at the falling Kryptonian. The two forces met over London in a cataclysmic explosion of light and sound. For a moment, the world went white. The shockwave flattened alien ships, shattered windows across the city, and hurled debris miles away. Through the blinding energy, Superman pushed. His fists drove into Thanos's chest, breaking through armor, breaking through will. The Titan roared in fury and pain as cracks spread across the shard, its glow faltering. "You fight for nothing," Thanos snarled, swinging wildly. "I fight," Superman gritted through clenched teeth, pressing harder, "for everyone." With one final surge of power, Superman struck the shard directly. It shattered in a burst of violet light, fragments scattering into the void. The explosion consumed both warriors, engulfing them in a storm of cosmic fire. For endless seconds, the world thought they were gone. Then, as the smoke cleared, Superman hovered above the ruins. His cape was tattered, his body scorched, but his eyes burned with determination. Below him, Thanos lay crumpled among the wreckage of St. Paul's Cathedral, beaten, broken, and unconscious. The mad Titan, for all his power and vision, had fallen. Superman descended slowly, his boots touching the shattered ground. Civilians emerged from hiding, staring in awe. Soldiers raised their weapons, not at him, but in salute. Children clung to their parents, whispering his name. One man stepped forward, voice trembling. "You saved us. You saved the world." Superman shook his head gently. "No," he said, his voice quiet but resolute. "We saved it. Together." He looked skyward at the retreating remnants of Thanos's alien fleet, scattered and leaderless. Humanity had stood, had resisted, even in the face of impossible odds. As dawn broke over London, the light painted the ruins in gold. Superman stood among the people, not above them, his presence a reminder that hope could endure even against the darkest power. The battle was over. The world would rebuild. And though Thanos had been defeated, Superman knew this was not the last time Earth would be tested. But when that day came, he would be ready. Because hope never dies. The end.